Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this session of Spokane Public Schools Keep Learning series for mathematics. Today's lesson is for students in grade 5, but all of you are welcome to join in. This lesson is the first in our series. My name is Mrs. Leonard, and I'm a mathematics instructional coach at Logan Elementary in Spokane Public Schools. I'll be your teacher for this lesson, and I'm so glad you're participating with me today. Today we'll be learning about multiplying fractions using an area model. For today's lesson, you will need paper and pencil. You might also find colored pencils or crayons helpful. I'll give you a moment to gather your supplies. Let's get started. I don't know about you, but we seem to have done a lot of baking at our home during these past few weeks. One of our favorite things to make and eat is brownies. This pan has been cut into equal-sized pieces. What fractional amount would you say just one of these brownies represents? I notice the brownies are laid out in a 4x6 arrangement. That's 24 pieces, so one brownie would represent 1/24 of the entire pan. Let's say that my family ate 1/4 of the pan of brownies. Can you picture the amount they ate? The rectangle represents the brownies my family ate. You might see it as 1 out of the 4 rows of brownies, or you may have looked at it as 6 of the 24 brownies. We could say that 1/4 of the pan of brownies is equivalent to 6/24 of the brownie pan. What fraction of the whole pan of brownies is left? You may have thought of 3/4, or maybe you thought of this as 18/24. These are equivalent fractions that can be used to represent the amount of brownies left in the pan. Now, of course, I would want some brownies too. So let's say that I ate 1/6 of what was left. Can you visualize the amount of brownie I ate? This new rectangle shows the portion that I ate. Can you see how this new portion represents 1/6 of the brownies remaining in the pan? Perhaps you noticed that 6 of these rectangles would fill the area of the remaining brownies. Now, what fractional amount of the whole pan of brownies did I eat? Can you see how I ate 3 out of the entire pan of 24 brownies? Or 3/24 of the whole pan? We could say that 1/6 of 3/4 of a pan of brownies is 3/24. An equation we could use to match this statement is 1/6 times 3/4 equals 3/24. Can you find a fraction that is equivalent to 3/24 that would also represent the portion of the whole pan of brownies that I ate? Perhaps you noticed how the rectangle of 3 brownies could be rotated. Then we can see that 8 of these sets would fit in the entire pan. So 3/24 is equivalent to 1/8. Some of you may have found an equivalent fraction by dividing by a fractional whole. We know that any number divided by 1 equals that same number. So the same is true of fractions. We can represent 1 as a fraction by using the same numerator and denominator. Both 3 and 24 are divisible by 3, so in this case, 3/3 would be a great choice for our fractional whole. You can then divide the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3, which would give you the fraction 1/8. Let's solve another problem with this same pan of brownies. This time, please sketch the model along with me as we go. Start by drawing a 4x6 array to represent the pan of brownies. Now, let's say that my family ate half of the pan of brownies. Lightly shade out this amount. You might want to use color for this. You may have thought of it this way, or perhaps you thought of it this way. Either way you thought of it, my family ate half of the pan of brownies, and so half the pan is still left. Now let's say I ate half of the pan of brownies that was left. That's a lot of brownies. Can you visualize the amount? Draw a rectangle around half of the remaining pan of brownies. What fractional amount of the whole pan of brownies would you say I ate? You may have looked at this amount as 6 brownies out of 24 brownies, or 6/24 of the whole pan. Or you may have noticed that the amount I ate could be thought of as 1/4 of the entire pan, as 4 of these rectangles would fill the whole pan. 1/4 and 6/24 are equivalent fractions. You could say that I ate half of half a pan of brownies. Can you think of an equation to represent this situation? Jot it down on your paper. You may have written something like this: 1/2 times 1/2 equals 1/4. Let's imagine a new pan of brownies. Here's a story to think about. William made a new pan of brownies for his friends. After they ate all they wanted, only 1/5 of the pan of brownies was left. He brought the remaining brownies home, and his dad ate 1/3 of what was left. What fraction of the whole pan of brownies did William's dad eat? Let's draw an array to represent the brownies. The first decision we need to make is what dimensions we should draw. The story doesn't directly tell me about this. It would be nice to find an amount that would work nicely with both fifths and thirds. What array are you thinking of trying? I'm thinking I'll sketch my array as a 3x5 rectangle. I know I'll be able to represent both thirds and fifths easily with this array. If I sketch a 3x5 array, that means there will be 15 total brownies in the pan. That should be a friendly number to work with for this problem. Here's the array I was thinking of. I can see thirds by looking at the 3 horizontal rows. I can see fifths when I look at the 5 vertical columns. The story tells us that only 1/5 of a pan of brownies was left. Shade in 1/5 of the array that you sketched. Does your sketch look something like this? The shaded portion represents 1/5 of the pan of brownies that William brought home. The story tells us that William's dad ate 1/3 of the brownies William brought home. Use a new color to shade in 1/3 of the pan. Here's one way you could show this. The area with overlapping colors represents the fraction of the pan of brownies that William's dad ate. We could say that 1/3 of 1/5 is 1/15. Take a moment to write down an equation that matches the story and the area model. Did you write 1/3 times 1/5 equals 1/15? Maybe you thought of it as 1/5 times 1/3 equals 1/15. Because of the commutative property, both of these equations could be used to find the product. Let's try another one. Anna made a tray of cupcakes for her family. After her family ate all they wanted, only 2/5 of the tray of cupcakes was left. Anna ate 2/3 of what was left. What fraction of the whole tray of cupcakes did Anna eat? Take a moment to sketch an array and then shade in the portions represented in the problem. Write an equation to match your work. We'll come back together in a moment. How'd it go? I'm curious what array you chose to sketch. I'm seeing that the problem deals with thirds and fifths, so I'm thinking that a 3 by 5 array would be helpful. Then I shaded 2/5 to represent the cupcakes that remained after Anna's family ate most of them. Next, I shaded in 2/3 of the pan of cupcakes to represent the fraction Anna ate. The overlapping section shows the cupcakes that Anna ate. That's 4 out of 15 cupcakes. Now I'm thinking about an equation to match. My work shows me that 2/3 of 2/5 is 4/15. My equation is 2/3 times 2/5 equals 4/15. I'm starting to notice that when I draw my first rectangle, the dimensions are the same as the denominators. In this case, 3 by 5. Here's your 3 by 5. And that matches our large rectangle here. I also noticed that the small overlapping rectangle has the same dimensions as the numerators. 2 by 2. Here's our small rectangle, 2 by 2. 2 times 2 equals 4, and 3 times 5 equals 15. I wonder if this will happen every time. I hope you'll explore this as you solve some more problems on your own. Try solving these problems on your own. I'll give you a moment to jot them down. The first problem is 1/3 times 1/4. The second problem is 2/5 times 3/4. For each problem, remember to draw an array, then shade in the fractional amounts to find the product. Remember to represent your array with an equation. When you're done, snap a picture of your work and send it to your teacher. Teachers miss you, and I know they would love to see the learning you're doing. I've enjoyed multiplying fractions with you today. Thanks for joining